going to be presenting the webinar for you today on the UA2L-24C-dual A2L mitigation system and the 3VMS-60-208 and 3VMS-60-480 volt three-phase voltage monitor and surge suppressor combo. So first of all, we like to start out by what is A2L refrigerant? Why do we really need A2L mitigation boards? Typically, older refrigerants used in HVAC equipments today, they have, HFCs in them, refrigerants that have HFCs that are not good for the ozone layer. And so they present a risk to the global warming of the planet. So recent refrigerants replaced those old refrigerants. Things like 410A that had a high global warming potential are now being replaced. So the HVAC industry now is leaning towards using only low GWP or low global warming potential refrigerants due to the enactment of the EPA requirement in January of 2025. So now A2L refrigerants, as they're labeled, have a low global warming potential, and they were selected to replace the higher global warming potential refrigerants like the 410A. But unfortunately, they're mildly flammable. So they require some type of mitigation technology in order to provide safe mitigation when a leak happens, okay? So what's the law regarding these low global warming potential refrigerants? Well, the American Innovation and Manufacturing Act, AIM, authorizes the EPA to phase down the production and consumption of all hydrofluorocarbons, HFCs, like the old R22, which is pretty much long gone now. But there are still a few systems around with those, but more like now even the 410A and the old 134, they're just, they get too high of a global warming potential. As you can see, the global warming potential has to be 750 or less for most new residential and light commercial AC units. So unfortunately, those older refrigerants no longer qualify, so the EPA is phasing them down. And as of January 1st of 2025, the EPA now requires the use of low GWP refrigerants for most residential and light commercial applications. However, these new low global warming refrigerants, like I mentioned, are slightly flammable. They're mildly flammable and are classified as A2L refrigerants, okay? Because of that mild flammability rating. So ICM Controls has a solution, right? So how does our solution work? Well, we came out with the ICM UA2L-24C-dual for aftermarket residential and light commercial applications. And how it works is there's a special A2L sensor that works in conjunction with the ICM UA2L dual board, control board, to sense the refrigerant. So when a leak is detected, when that detection level is above the low flammability limit trip point, then the ICM product can turn off the compressor on AC and heat pumps, or break the R of the thermostat for an indoor furnace application. They will turn off the alarm output to indicate that a leak is present. Note the alarm output is opposite of what you might think. Normally you would think that you'd see a light go on, but in this case you want to have a light on all the time so that in dark locations or when a person's checking the system, they can actually look inside, hey, my light's on, I'm good. If they don't see the light, then they know they got a problem. So it's a little way of, giving you more of an easier way to check whether your system is functional or not. And then turn on the system fan, to just create circulation and aerate the area from that low flammable refrigerant. So what's the key factor here? The key feature is the A2L sensor, and that's the little guy that does all the magic, okay? So the A2L sensor that's in here works off of sound, the speed of sound in an environment. It has a very wide operating temperature. It's an industry leading lifetime of better than 15 years, low power consumption. There's no calibration needed because it's not actually sensing the refrigerant itself, it's sensing the sound that is going through the air when the refrigerant is present and when it's not present. So it picks up the difference in that resonant frequency when the refrigerant enters an airspace. So no calibrations needed means it's got a long lifetime. It's IP54 rated, which means it can take a little water splash and dust protection, but obviously you don't want the filter to get saturated with water. So you got to keep it above the drain pan in the locations wherever you're mounting it, but not not in where it's going to be get saturated. So it's also recognized by UL standard there, UL 60335-2-40. So sensor installation. So in most of your typical applications, because your A2L refrigerant is heavier than air. Basically, UL, when we looked at some of the UL guidelines for sensor installation, they're just basically saying, hey, find a location where the refrigerant is going to settle, all right, where it's going to settle in a low-lying area where the refrigerant is likely to pool. And it can vary depending on each HVAC system's specific construction and cabinet layout. Additional sensors are going to be a replaceable item, and they are part number ICM-A2L-sensor, and we are working feverishly on getting those available to everybody soon. So again, location of the sensor depends on the specific geometrics of the particular unit and the airflow in the unit, but generally in an area where refrigerant is going to collect. Okay. Moving on to the three-phase voltage monitor and surge protection. So we know these days there's a lot of things going on with our power grids, okay? A lot of things going on with our power grids. So why do we need line monitors and surge protective devices? Well, power plants generate electricity, right? At the power plant, then it steps it down, and eventually it makes it to the commercial building or the residential building. But during all these processes, things can happen. And the things that can happen is electrical switching and things from substations. We see that lightning density across the US, the areas that are highest in the lightning are shown by these maps. So, we know we got a lot of lightning strikes, especially across the, the Western areas too, and in the Midwest. And so lightning and high density surges and things like that are happening all across the country, really. And what causes these surges are things like transient voltage, okay? Transient voltage is a surge that happens, say, like a lightning strike in the upper atmosphere that surges on energy down the power lines. This can occur also man-made ways by big power plants changing your grid. They can power distribution centers, can switch on and off things, and that can create surges. You could have an electrical plant, a big industrial plant, manufacturing plant that's actually turning on and off big pieces of equipment or has excessive demand. Indirect and direct lightning strikes can cause surges to happen. As we can see, a surge is that spike that you see. You got your normal voltage, and then all of a sudden you get this very fast-acting transient surge. So you need something to protect not only those transient surges, but you also have problems with the voltage. In three-phase, for example, you have three different phases that have to be always maintained. And things can go on where you could lose a phase, you could be having unbalance, which we'll get into very shortly. But in regards to surges, these utilities switching on and off power, malfunctioning substations, transformers going down, electrical spikes and electrical strikes. All these things can cause surges. So what types of surge can you get? You can get a type 1 surge, which is a line side surge. So that's happening really at the power pole itself, more at the transformer, and it's hitting the mains coming in. Then you have a type 2 type surge that can be beyond the breaker, all right, and that can happen on the load side of the service panel. And then there's a type 3, which is those kind of like those ones you buy in Walmart, where you got a little plug-in device that you plug your stuff into, your electronics into, and they have some, surge suppressors in them, surge arresters in them, but they're not near the quality of the type 1 and type 2 that we need for high energy surges. So why does an HVAC system need surge protection? Well, we all know that your HVAC system has almost everything today has a control board in it. So control board is the brain of the system, and a surge can fry that control board really quickly. Compressor motors also draw a lot of power and so forth, and if a surge gets through, it could damage the windings on that compressor, and that's the main part of your HVAC system. And if that gets damaged, that's a lot of money to repair. You got a capacitor on an HVAC system. Okay, the capacitor stores electrical energy. If a power surge occurs, this can damage the capacitors. All right, and then cause your system to shut down and cause unnecessary repairs to be done or downtime if you're in a production plant. So you want to be, you never want to have that situation where your equipment just randomly goes down because of a surge. And there's also relay switching of the HVAC switch that turns on and off the components in your HVAC systems, like the contactor, that can get fried. So there's a lot of things in the HVAC system that can be damaged by a surge, mainly being the control board and the compressor. Those are the two things you really need to protect. So ICM controls is first to market with the 3 VMS voltage monitor and surge suppressor combo package. Okay, so it's built for high demand, light commercial environments, and they provide 3-phase voltage monitoring along with very high quality 3-phase surge suppression all in one package. This is a very big deal. The fact that it's all done for you. I talk to a lot of people on the phone all day long. The people love the 450A. They love our surge suppressors, but they want something in some cases where everything's all together in one, with a contactor in it, breaks you from the service voltage, and it's just all done for you instead of having to hand wire individual things. It doesn't necessarily mean that the 450A being installed by itself isn't still a good thing, or the individual surge suppressor. Sometimes you may only need one or the other, but a lot of times you want that whole package for the full circle of protection, and you can get it all in one with a contactor built into it so that you can actually break the service voltage. Remember, the 450A by itself only breaks the control voltage. So, and then the 530 is an absorption product. It absorbs the surge. It doesn't break you from the service. Whereas if you have it all in one package now, the 450A, if you get a voltage problem, the 450A, now it'll break you from the actual service voltage. Still with a surge, it's an absorption product. It absorbs the surge, dissipates it with the TMOVs that are inside, but that part of it won't take you offline. All right, so which one do you choose? We have two different models. So, but which one do I need? Well, really, it comes down to the voltage that you're using. If your nominal voltage is 208, then you got to have the 3VMS 60-208. Now, that's limited to a 60 amp rating. Okay. Now, when I say limited, that's really a very good rating. because that's right in the bulk of where you're going to see your most usage. We've done some studies on this, and yes, are there applications that go a little higher than 60 amps? Sure, there are, but they're a lot less prevalent. Most of your applications are going to be in the 60 amp or under. So um, the 60 amp contactor in there is well suited to handle those inductive loads. Now, if you have a 480 volt application, your three phases 480 coming in, then you go with the 480 volt model, 3VMS-60-480. And that one includes a step down transformer in it to step down the voltage to run the coil of the contactor. Because remember, the 450A, its rating on its little relay that switches the contactor coil on and off is only rated for 240. So we have to step that voltage down. That's why that transformer is in there. Otherwise, we wouldn't need it. But unfortunately, because the 450A can't handle more than 240 volts at its output relay to be able to turn off that main relay, and we have to step that voltage down. Also, it comes with a limited lifetime warranty up to 3 years and $25,000 connected equipment warranty. All right, so what's the benefits? What's the takeaway here? Well, it's an all-in-one pre-wired assembly. Again, this is the best benefit that you got with this product is it's that, instead of you having to install the separate pieces and wire them all in, put them in a control box. If you wanted to break the service voltage, you'd have to add your own contactor in. Now you got that all done for you, all in one, and it gives you the best features that we offer for surge suppression and the best features we offer for voltage monitoring. These are two of the best products that we have in our catalog. 450A Plus is fantastic at three-phase voltage monitoring. Again, why do you need a voltage monitor? Because you get phase loss, phase unbalance, phase reversal with three-phase. You've got to be able to pick that up, as well as the top of the line three-phase surge suppression we offer, the 530 and the 531. Those are for clamping those transient surges that a voltage monitor can't catch. Voltage monitor can't catch a surge. It can take care of phase loss, phase reversal, phase unbalance, great, but it cannot catch a surge. So that's what you need, the surge suppression. So you have all in one package with a nice contactor built in. It's a UL listed device. It's got a heavy duty 60 amp 3-pole contactor, which fully disconnects the load. You've got again, one of the best surge suppressors on the market, the 530, 531 with a high nominal discharge rating of 20 kA, which means it can take a lot of hits before it goes out. And remember what the surge suppressor does: absorbs, dissipates. It absorbs the surge, dissipates. That in itself doesn't disconnect you from the line. Voltage issues like phase loss, phase reversal, phase unbalance, over and under voltage, that will disconnect you from the service line. But surges are absorbed and dissipated by the TMOVs. So this is a modular design with field replaceable parts, another great benefit for this product. Some of the other products you might know, like the 493, you kind of got to replace the whole product. But this one, you can replace individual pieces inside of it. It's protection you can trust with 50,000 amps per phase up to 150,000 amps of surge current protection. User settable features on the 450A Plus, including anti-short cycle delay, over and under voltage settings, percent unbalanced. Although we recommend you stick with the settings that we provide because they're kind of tuned for the device, but you can always fine tune it if you need it. It's got a rugged NEMA 4X rated outdoor enclosure and got smarter diagnostics and troubleshooting within the 450A, like a backlit human readable display, larger fault history, real-time clock for date and timestamp of the events, so you can do logging of events, find out when these events are occurring, so that helps you better troubleshoot. The new microchip in there is basically can do a true RMS reading, so you got a more accurate reading, but we also give you that voltage calibration feature. So a lot of nice features, like I said, it's the best voltage monitor, three-phase voltage monitor we offer. The best three-phase voltage monitor we offer, and the best surge suppression that we offer, all in one package for three-phase. Now, we talked a little bit about the enclosure. We'll get a little bit deeper dive here. And the enclosure is a weather-resistant design built to withstand harsh outdoor conditions. It's a NEMA 4X and IP66 rated outdoor enclosure, meaning it can take the weather. It could take rain, it could take water, it could take snow, ice, that kind of stuff, because it's all sealed in there. All right. It's a compact and robust construction. It's a little bit, it's all, you just mount this thing and everything is right there in this nice, neat compartment. You don't have things all coming in from all different locations. It's all nice, one nice, cleanly wired box. And it gives you all-in-one protection, as we mentioned before. Now, where do you see these things, okay? Where can you use them? Well, certainly rooftop units, three-phase heat pumps and RTUs, all right? Split system condensing units and air handlers. Walk-in freezers and coolers and refrigeration racks. VFD driven systems, data centers, schools, municipalities, IT room, really anywhere where three-phase equipment exists. So the value proposition, all right, 3VMS series protects you against all these things, the over and under voltage, the phase loss, phase reversal, phase imbalance, all that part, rapid short cycling, while also protecting you against those fast-acting transient surges that can really take out electronics very fast. So you want to protect not only the compressor and electronics from voltage issues, but you also want to protect them from surge-related issues. Each one has got its own importance, as we talked about. Modular design for easy individual component replacement, reducing maintenance costs while providing you an all-in-one perfect solution for three-phase loads. Now, when you do this, that reduces time to install. When you have a nice, quick modular design, it reduces the time to install. All right, and also it's simple conduit input and output wiring. So it's easy to install, reduces time. That means, in and out, better customer, better for the contractor. Universally applicable for any load from 0 to 60A as well. Okay, so how does this look from a business owner's perspective? Well, first of all, from a business owner's perspective, you got peace of mind, right? You're protected from both voltage and surge. Cost of ownership is reduced, okay? So, it also will extend equipment lifetime. And you'll have more uptime and less downtime because equipment won't be breaking down as much, all right? So better equipment life, less downtime, cost of ownership reduced, and you got a peace of mind. So that's the business owner. My contractor's side of things. You got easy installation, fewer callbacks and warranty calls, reliable diagnostics, and simplified troubleshooting. From a distributor's aspect, you can protect the brand, like your piece of equipment. You can protect that unit. So you're offering protection for maybe your high cost brands. Somebody pays a lot of money for these big train units and carrier units. You want that added protection. It's also less warranty, all right, and less service, and higher ASP. Okay, and that kind of concludes things. If there's any questions, please feel free to bring them up right now. Does anybody have any questions on what we've covered with the voltage monitoring and surge protection, or anything with the A2L refrigerants or UA2L systems mitigation that we talked about? Okay, well, if there's no questions, that would be concluding our session for today. If there are any questions, of course, you can always reach out to us at our 365-5525 technical support hotline, or you can email us at info@icmcontrols.com. And you can also leave questions in the chat, and we will answer those as well. Please visit us at www.icmcontrols.com. We have a nice media library there, product details, application guides, sell sheets that go through a lot of this stuff, cross-reference guides. A lot of stuff's available on our website, and Paige has done such a wonderful job at kind of revamping that website with a outside contractor, and it's a really nice site. So please take advantage of it. And again, we got our technical support hotline and email. So if there are no